Hello everyone, Chaplain April here, and I was going to do a couple of videos separately, but I think that I'm just going to do them together because why not, right? So I'm going to do a little devotion here. I've got Power Thoughts by Joyce Meyer. So I'm kind of continuing on the video that I did on your unique value. This is a continuation of that because my mentor and I talked and she said, April, you could go so much further with that and you could do like a series of those. So this is the continuation of it. And I might do another one, who knows? So I've got a whole another litany of items here to show you, but I wanted to do a devotion because I haven't done that in quite a while. And this actually would go really well with what we are talking about because Joyce Meyer it was abused by her own father, and she felt like she was damaged goods and that God could never use her. And she, I'm sure, felt completely hopeless. I mean, she talks about it a lot in her show. She has a daily show. It's called is it Everyday Life? Enjoying Everyday Life. And she now is so far past what happened to her, but she was a broken little girl and growing up. And so her dad abused her sexually, and that's like the worst, you know, a thing a kid can go through. And her mother knew about it, didn't do anything, and a couple of other family members that she reached out to didn't help her. So she had every reason to believe that she was not valuable, that, you know, she even talks about how she didn't think anyone would ever want her. So in her first marriage, she just married the first guy that came along, and that didn't work out. But she really felt like she couldn't get anywhere in life because of what had been done to her. So she is a prime example of someone that was a castaway, a cast out of society. I mean, if people knew, especially back then, I think she's 70 something now. So this was years ago whenever, I mean, everything was hush hush. Like it's not like today where if someone had any hint of a problem like that, they would send in the authorities and someone would, you know, hopefully find out what was going on and rectify the situation. It was back when things were really hush hush. People didn't talk about this sort of thing. Like she just couldn't get any help. And you know, it was something that was very secretive in her family, and it destroyed her. It destroyed her brother. You know, she just had a terrible family life. And you know, she came to know the Lord, realized what he believed of her, and started studying the Word, and it became a powerful teacher and preacher of the Word of God. And she has it so far deep in her, the knowing, the knowledge of the value that she has, the worth that she has for God. That's really what matters. It doesn't matter if we're worth anything to man. You know, I mean, it matters in the sense of, oh, we got to get our purpose done. But in the end, what matters is what God thinks, because we are his children. And like an example would be when my kids and I went on that cruise, the Jesus Freak cruise. There were several bands on there. It was I can't even think right now. It was DC Talk, which anyway, that's a new band now. Can't remember what it is, but it was a throwback to the old DC Talk, and there were several other Christian bands and artists on there. Mandisa was on there. I don't even know. Jeremy Camp, this guy Aaron Cole, I think is his name, which he has some big songs now. And so there was people on board that I didn't know. I found out later that the lady that starred in this abortion movie, which I haven't even seen yet. It was a movie against abortion. You know, I'm sorry, I should have looked all of this up beforehand. But she was the star of the movie. This was pretty recent, and she was on board. Well, I didn't know she was on board. I could have stood in line with her, or I could have seen her walking around. I had no idea who she was. So, you know, not everyone is going to know your worth and going to see your worth. You know, Joyce Meyer's dad did not recognize her worth as a human being that had feelings, that, you know, this was going to destroy her and all of that. And so we really have to look to God for that. God is the one that is going to do that for us. So let's look at September 30th. This is Power Thoughts Devotional. So she has a book called Power Thoughts, which is awesome. So I think her best-selling book is, why can I not think today? What is going on? My brain is just all over the place. Battlefield of the Mind is her like main book that people know her for. And then I think Power Thoughts is a close second, maybe. Because you want to think, her thing is to think what God wants of us and not what the enemy wants, because the enemy is going to put thoughts in our heads of all of our flaws, all of the negatives in us and in our lives. We all have negatives. We all have things that we cannot achieve, that we cannot grasp. And if we dwell on those things and those thoughts, then that's what's going to pull us down and hold us back from going forward through to complete the purpose that we have. So that's the enemy's goal. He wants us to fall short of our purpose. He doesn't want us to complete our purpose. So if we have, so the Power Thoughts is about, a Battlefield of the Mind is about capturing those thoughts when they come into our mind, those negative thoughts. And this helps people with anxiety, depression, all those things. We capture the thought and then we replace it with what God really thinks of us. Not just something we dream up that, oh, we think is cute, or think of a unicorn or something. No, we think about the truth. So we reject the lie and we think about the truth. And so I'm imagining, Power Thoughts is probably something close to that. So anyway, September 30th in here is Are You at Rest? So we'll just read that. And it starts out with Hebrews 4:3, and she's got this in the New Living Translation. For only we who believe can enter his rest. As for the others, God said, in my anger I took an oath, they will never enter my place of rest, even though this rest has been ready since he made the world. I really would like to read that in a different translation, but so you have to believe that God is giving you rest and enter into his rest in order to receive it. So it says, when you feel frustrated or upset, or if you have lost your peace and your joy, ask yourself, am I believing God's word? The only way to be free from struggling is to believe the word and obey whatever Jesus puts in your heart to do. Believing God's word delivers you from struggling so you can rest in the promises of God. If your thoughts have become negative and you are full of doubt, it is because you have stopped believing God's word and trusting him. As soon as you start believing God's word, your joy will return and you will be at ease again. Power Thought. I believe God and his word, and by trusting him, I enter his rest. So if we look at this as a power thought, what we're believing right now is that we're going to believe that God sees our intrinsic worth and value. And that's all that matters. And when you are a devout Christian, like I am, extremely devout, you know, I've dedicated my life to God, my will to God, my purpose to God. What I really truly want is to fulfill God's will for my life. And I don't want the, you know, B version, C version, D version. I want the A version. I want the perfect will, if that is at all possible. So that's what I'm striving for, is to go as narrow it down as much as I can to the exact purpose that he has. And the only way to do that is to realize what he believes about me. And it's the same thing that he believes about you, because he created us all equal. We're all his children. Some people don't realize they are, and that's another story. But those of us that do realize it, then when we dedicate our lives to God and we say, God, here I am, what do you want me to do? Then he gives us things to do, like these videos. This is not my idea. This is what the Holy Spirit wanted me to do. I don't know who it's speaking to. I don't know if it's helping anyone. But if it only helps one person, it's worth it. So, and this idea just came to me about these, you know, things that I've been doing here with eBay. So I guess I should explain a little bit about that. Why am I selling on eBay? Well, I'm having a lot of fun. I really wasn't looking to do anything like this. You know, I just started watching the YouTube videos of people doing it, and I thought, I wonder if that really works. And then I started trying it, started selling, things started selling, and I realized that I actually kind of had a knack for picking things, for finding things. And it's really fun to look for. It's like you're looking for treasure every day. You don't know what you're going to find, because you don't know what someone donated yesterday that you might find today. You know, is it going to be someone's, you know, doll collection, or all their figurines, or, you know, some piece of glass that's really cool, or, you know, the most beautiful china set you've ever seen. It's just really fun. And my attempt at being a real estate agent really had more to do with me trying to get out of chaplaincy. I hate to say that, but not that I don't want to be a chaplain, but I was really burned out with on-call. You know, I did it for 3 straight years, most weekends, and a lot of times during the week also. It's very, very taxing. I was burned out, and that was my attempt at doing something else. And I'm at a point now where I don't really have to have a job, but I would like to have something. So this just turned into like a little part-time thing that I'm doing, and it's really fun. I really enjoy it. I mean, I can even get on Marketplace and look at things people are selling there that I might want to try to sell on eBay. It's just kind of a fun thing. I don't know how long I'll do it, but in 3 months, I've become a top-rated seller on eBay. I don't even know how. I mean, they said that, you know, I consistently deliver great customer service. And I'm like, well, I just do kind of what, you know, we should be doing for people, which is if, you know, something arrives broken, then you have to give them a refund, or, you know, whatever it is. I try to reply to people really quickly. I don't, you know, this is what I'm doing right now. So I do not want to stop the ministry things that I'm doing with the videos, my devotions that I'm writing. I'm already going to start writing a new one. My one devotion is on YouVersion now. I'm starting on the next one. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way to a book or not. I don't know yet, but I don't want this to take over my life to the point where I'm not doing any ministry things. I mean, I've even volunteered at my church. If I could have it my way, I would just be a chaplain at my church, volunteer, and just be available to anyone that needed, you know, pastoral advice, because I can't really call it counsel, because I officially am not supposed to do that as a chaplain. We're not counseling people, but we can give them pastoral advice. from a pastoral perspective. So that's what I would do, and I have offered to do that. I haven't offered to do it to that extent, but they said if they ever needed me in that capacity for someone who's lost a loved one or something, that they would call me. Hasn't happened yet, but of course we had the whole COVID thing, so God only knows what, you know, who knows. But I love being a chaplain. I will always be a chaplain. I think it is just intrinsically, it's just me. It's who I am. I'm very empathetic to people, and I have that compassion for people, and that is partly what drives that in me. So I'm not selling on eBay and getting out of everything else. I'm really not going to be a real estate agent. I did not enjoy that. I really do not enjoy when I don't like having to convince anyone to buy something. To me, if they want to buy it, they're going to buy it. If they, you know, don't want to buy it, they're not going to buy it. If, you know, it's not the right thing or whatever. And speaking of unicorns, I talked a lot about that in my previous video. People in real estate, people looking for houses, it seems like they're all looking for a unicorn house that doesn't exist. And that was just so incredibly frustrating to me, because they will put it on you as though you're not doing your job, or they need a different real estate agent or whatever, but you're thinking, but you're looking for a unicorn that doesn't exist. No real estate agent on the planet can find you that, because it doesn't exist. I mean, you want to have a budget here, but you want that budget to buy you something that needs like a triple that budget, you know, and you're mad because you can't find this in this budget. It doesn't exist. Or I had one guy, he had a really awesome budget, but he wanted and he was a great guy, I love this guy, but he wanted a house with certain criterion, of course, only within this one area. I mean, if you went to this street, it was too far north. This street, it was too far east. I mean, he had this boxed out. It has to be in that area. I mean, I found him houses that were like even close to those areas, one street above or whatever. And nope, this is the area I want to be. But there are no houses like the ones that you're looking for in that area. They don't exist. And so then you would have to try to get them to understand that they need to go to a different area or whatever. Anyway, the point is, I don't like wishy-washy in people. So the other problem that would happen is that people are not loyal like they used to be. So they will use you to go show them umpteen houses, and then they'll turn around and go with some other realtor, or they'll go to an open house and buy a house after you showed them 40 houses. So realtors are not getting paid to drive you around and to show houses. No one's paying them. I think people have this notion that you're on the clock when you're a realtor and you're driving around or whatever you're doing. You're not. Your agency's not paying you. You don't get paid until you sell the house and it closes. And if it doesn't close, you can even have something this close to closing that ends up, you know, the deal breaks through and or breaks down, and you don't close on it. So now you've spent, you know, 3 or 4 months working on this one deal that doesn't close. So you never get a paycheck. You never see it. And it's not all about that, but it seemed to me to be like a really frustrating thing. Now, when someone was ready, like my neighbor down the street here, when she was ready and she knew she was ready to buy, and, you know, and I showed her houses, she picked one and we did it. Okay, that's fine. But this thing where you have to follow people for 6 months to a year, and then they're wishy-washy and they don't know, and oh well, oh man, I don't want to sell my house now. I did, but now I don't. I just couldn't. I I don't like that. I don't like being used, you know, to work for people that end up not being loyal to you. I really had a problem with that. So I did not like being a realtor. I would like to, you know, try flipping, because if you're flipping a house, then you are kind of in control. You're in charge of the whole scenario from start to finish, and all you have to do at the end is put the lockbox on it and let someone else sell it. So that I'm going to try, but I still have my license. I am going to, what am I trying to say? I'm going to buy rentals for myself. So the last rental that we bought was back in December. I found it, and I, you know, wrote up the offer myself and did everything myself. I enjoy that. And that was awesome, because if I were going through a realtor, I might have missed out on that deal. So I do want to do that for that, and then also to possibly flip. Now, when I say flipping, it's going to start on a very small scale, because I want to do something very small first and see how it goes. But when we did buy that one rental, I had to do everything with the contractor and have it all fixed up, pick out the materials, all that stuff. And I love that. That is so much fun to me. I love going to the quote-unquote job site and checking out what's going on. And I'm kind of a resource person, so I like searching for resources and stuff like that. That I enjoy. I don't like having to convince someone of something that they're not convinced of. And so that's why I like eBay, because you find the item, you list it, you put it on there, and if someone likes it, they buy it. If they don't, they don't. You don't know. You don't have to have any really interaction with them. And of course, in real estate, you can list houses and kind of do it that way too, but getting listings is not easy either. So kudos to all the realtors out there that really make it work and make it happen. I mean, wow, it's not easy. Realtors do not have it easy. Now the ones, yes, that have been doing it for 20 years and have a system and all that, okay, maybe it's easy for them, but anyway. I don't want to do cold calls and go knocking on doors and that sort of thing. It's just not going to happen. So I love this eBay, and it's money daily, weekly, you know, like people just pay you, it goes into your PayPal account. It's easy and it's enjoyable. It's fun. So if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you really have to enjoy what you're doing, because you're spending most of your time doing it. So I'm going to show you a lot of the things that I'm finding, and why this can be so fun. So let's start with this Dansk gravy boat. It's a fish gravy boat. How cool is that? So his mouth is open, so the gravy just kind of pours out. It's just so cool. And his tail is up. It's very detailed. It's very cool. If you look on eBay and you type in white Dansk gravy boat, these will come up. And mine will probably be listed on there also. I had to pay up for this because Goodwill is now pricing up a lot of things. I guess they know that people are reselling, and I really don't agree with the fact that they should price everything up, because I think that's another story, but I think that their mission is to sell things to people that can't afford to buy these higher priced items. So if you're pricing up your items, then the people that you are supposed to be servicing are not going to be able to afford them. Yeah, the resellers will, but even resellers like me, I guess I am now, can't afford to pay up for an item and then also make money on it when they resell it. So it's just really frustrating. But anyway, I did pay up a little bit for this, but it's Dansk International France. and just a really cool item. So when I see something like this, I'm like, oh, wow, you know, that's like, it's a treasure. I found it, you know, and people love this stuff. Here is a double leaf dish. This is Lenox. This is the classic Lenox I was talking about. Lenox is made in the US. This is the cream color with the gold gilding. I just love it. It's classic. I am pretty much a classic type person. I like classic style. I'm not really into trends. I'm not really a trendy person because to me trends are gonna come in and out. I like classic, like the old Audrey Hepburn. That's why I like Chanel, because a lot of Chanel is very classic. It's the classic black dress, you know, with the pearls, and I just, that's the looks that I like. Sometimes I will go trendy, but not usually. Here is a beautiful vase. I liked the look of it. Now, when I saw on here that it was made for FTD, which is a, you know, flower company, they made this for them, but it was made in Portugal. So I'm like, if it's FTD, I'm really not gonna try to pick it up. But I liked this enough that I liked the colors. These colors are really kind of in right now, the turquoise and whatever. Well, actually gray is really in, but people love turquoise. And the fact that it was made in Portugal, I thought, well, okay, if it doesn't sell, I'll keep it. But anyway, here is another really pretty vase. This is vintage Hull, H-U-L-L. Hull pottery, made in the US. And I actually got this from someone on Marketplace that was selling. This was their grandmother's collection. So I have like 4 pieces that all match. I should have brought the little Aladdin style. It's like a little Aladdin style like oil lamp or something. I have that out there too, but I just picked this one up. But I really love these colors. I mean, you know, I like this green and the mauve, and anyway, I'm not gonna keep this, but this is a vintage pottery that a lot of people look for. It's just very pretty, classic. Okay, let's see. Here is a little bird that is, oh, made out of glass. Look at this guy. So I had a really terrible time looking him up. I can't really find him. It doesn't have a sticker, and to me he looks like some kind of collectible. He kind of sits like that, and he's just very unique and different, kind of heavy. So someone else had one listed, I think similar to this, and they had put in their listing possibly Murano. So Murano glass is highly collected by a lot of people. It's very nice glass. I don't know if I have actually found any Murano. I have found Fenton. And so I listed this as possibly Murano. And I have people looking at it and everything. No one has actually bought it yet, but anyway, I guess if I looked up, if I had a book with all the Murano stuff in it, I could maybe find this. I really don't know how to find it. But it's just really cool. Then I have this little teacup set here, and I watch a lot of other resellers to see kind of what to do and what to look for and what sells and da-da-da. And of course they say that you shouldn't just buy things that you like, because if you're going to be a reseller, you want to buy things that other people are going to buy. They're not always going to buy everything you like, you know. And you might be passing up some good stuff that you don't like, but it would sell. So people say don't just pick up one teacup or one plate. You need like a pair or a set. So I debated on whether to pick this up because it's just one cup and one plate. Now, if people were wanting to replace something in their set, they might buy it, but there's also replacements.com or whatever where people can go and buy replacements for their china. So I don't want to become like a replacement store where I'm just buying one piece of china to replace everybody's sets. That's not what I want to do. but I picked this up so I could keep it for myself because this is my favorite color of green right here. I call this emerald green and gold. I've always loved gold. My sister Christy, she likes to decorate with silver. She loves the color silver. I like the color gold. I have a lamp over here that I bought. That's a ginger jar lamp with gold on it. I just love the gold color. I love it, even though I know platinum is more expensive than gold and it has a silver look. And I like platinum too, but I just like the look of gold. I just think it's classic and it's very beautiful. So I'm keeping this for myself. I'm gonna give an example of something that a couple things that I don't like, because what we're talking about right now in our little study, teaching, whatever you want to call it, is, you know, seeing the beauty in everything, even though on the surface it may not look beautiful. So like this little guy, okay, to me this is an ugly figurine. Okay, I think this is ugly. When I first saw it, I was like, oh Lord help us, why would someone want this? Why would you want to buy this guy? He looks sad, looks like he's about to cry. I don't know why he has a bird's nest in his hand. Like, I don't get it, you know. He has these huge, you know, chubby feet. Like, I don't get this, right? But when you look on the bottom and it says Quarry Kids, Bradley rescued. So Quarry Kids is some kind of collectible. People collect Quarry Kids. So I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and have to pick this thing up and try to sell it because somebody's collecting these, even though I don't like it, right? But it does have some value to it. And if somebody has a collection and they don't have the Bradley rescued figurine, then they're gonna want this. And it's made out of some kind of weird hard stone. I don't even know what it's made out of, but it's some kind of stone. So, you know, I at first glance didn't see any value in it, but when I looked closer, okay, well, it's a collectible. Here's another thing that I don't really like. So this is a cowboy belt buckle. It's a very nice belt buckle. If you're into belt buckles, you would be like, oh wow, this is bronze, okay. It says Russell Westerner Collection, limited edition, and it has a number 766. Oh no, it's not bronze, it's brass. It says it's solid brass. Looks like bronze, kind of. And the scene on here, I don't know, it's a guy on a horse. He's lancing someone else. Oh God, is that an Indian? Oh, this is not good. Anyway, it's called Counting Coup, and it's a belt buckle. So I don't think this is attractive. I have no use for a cowboy belt buckle. You know, I don't even have any idea about them, but someone that is really into belt buckles and knows this brand, Russell Westerner Collection, may want this. And when I looked it up to list it, it was worth $67 or $75, somewhere in there, because it's solid brass. So I went ahead and bought it, even though I don't really like this. I know everyone thinks that where I live is all cowboys and everybody's running around in cowboy boots and belt buckles and cowboy hats, but it's really not true. It was really irritating whenever Oprah, this was years ago, she took this trip all the way across the US in this little car with her friend, and they just did this road trip and they came through Oklahoma. And of course, they had to find a cowboy. So they were looking for a cowboy, and of course they found one. They went out to the boonies somewhere, I don't know where they were, on a farm somewhere, and found a cowboy that was roping cattle. And that is the only picture that anyone ever has of the state that I live in and most of the surrounding states, and it's like, they can never show the normal, you know, any type of other people that live here, because we have to perpetuate this idea that everyone is out here living on a farm and, you know, milking cows and, you know, riding horses, and it's just not true. And it just really frustrated me. And again, we see the value. There's a value in farms, farming, cowboys. I mean, there is a whole, that's what country music is all about. You know, country music. There's so many country stars, country music stars from here. And a lot of those, you know, that a lot of people like that country music, country everything. I don't, because I lived in Costa Rica, so all we listened to was pop music. I never really listened to country music, so I'm really not a country music fan or anything country or cowboy boots or anything. But you have to see the value in that, in all the people that do, in that segment of society that does. And I even sold a cowboy hat. I know nothing about cowboy hats. No one I know has ever worn one, but it was a Stetson, and I was watching this YouTuber who sells a lot of hats, and I thought, well, I'm gonna look too, and I found this Stetson hat, and sure enough, somebody in Texas bought it. And but you know, my mentor was telling me that cowboys are like the salt of the earth type people. They are very you know, that's typical America, classic America is the cowboy, because, you know, at one time back in the day, everybody had wagons and they came through here, and they, you know, they homesteaded, they, you know, they got land, and that's how they lived. And so we have to value that. Like, most of our ancestors probably did that. And what's funny is people always say that, oh, Oklahoma, Texas, all these states, oh, that's all where the cowboys are. And my mom is from California, and she says it's really funny because didn't Dale Evans and Roy Rogers, didn't they were cowboys and on horses, didn't they film their show in California, if I remember correctly, because I grew up there. And there's a lot of cowboys in California. It was all cowboys. And where am I going with this? I have gone way off on a tangent. I'm sorry. But I guess this just, the whole cowboy thing, it really gets to me. But what was I going to say about that? I was going to say that, oh, somebody that I know had said one time that everybody out there is farmers and whatever, and I'm like, or they were looking down on people that live on farms, and I felt like saying to them, do you like to eat? You like hamburgers? You go to McDonald's? You like burgers even if you don't go to McDonald's? Well, then don't knock the farmers, because if we didn't have farmers, you wouldn't be able to eat that hamburger. You wouldn't have hamburgers to eat. You wouldn't have eggs. You wouldn't have milk. So why are we looking down on these people? The farmers that I've known, they are humble, amazing people, and they're making a living for their families in the way that they know how. They're doing a service to their fellow man by farming, so the rest of us can have food. You know, so I would not knock the farmers. And by the way, every state in the country has some type of farming, whether it be oranges, apples, you know, there's some type of farming in every state. So it's just this concept that the Midwest, that's all it is. Well, it's everywhere. So, and if you want to have food to eat, you know, you're the type of person that doesn't want to go out there and do these menial, horrible, awful, demeaning jobs. So someone else has to do it for you so you can have something to eat. So that's my little, I've been really frustrated about that for a long time. So we value the farmers. We value every segment of society that is a hard worker, and they're doing their part. They're contributing. So even though I don't like this buckle personally for me, I see that it has a value. It has value for someone. And that's what God sees. He sees that you have value. And even if you're sick in bed and you can't move, okay, that happened to my dad. He had diabetes. He didn't take care of his health. He was very, very sick. He had gone the last 8 years of his life, last 10 years of his life, he lived 8 of them in Costa Rica because he had gone back to try to finish the mission that he started or whatever. And I remember having a problem with that because I'm like, I wish you were here with us and seeing my kids grow up and everything. But anyway, he went back there. He ended up getting very sick. It's socialized medicine there, so it's very different. He wasn't getting the care that he needed to get. So they had to move back to the States. And he only lasted, I think, 2 years after they moved back before he, you know, his body just gave out. And it's a long story, but he got to a point where he was almost blind. And I have a picture. If I find that picture, I'll post it as a thumbnail. I'm really bad about getting thumbnails on here. But I have a picture where I'm kissing him on the cheek, and you can tell he doesn't see very well. He's closing his eyes or something. That was because he couldn't see anymore very well. And the diabetes had just messed everything up. He got to a point where he was even having this, is it called diabetic nerve pain? And he was in a lot of pain, and no one could understand why. We found out it was his nerves. He needed certain medicines and stuff. But he got to a point where he was calling me all the time. He's like, April, I need you. I need you. I need your help. And I didn't know what to do for him. No one knew what to do for him. And then one time I went to visit him, and he was so depressed. And it's not easy to see your parent depressed, because when you're growing up, you see them as the hero of your life, of the world, and they're just Superman and all that. And to see him lying in bed depressed, and he's kind of one of person that I look up to in ministry. And he felt like he didn't have a ministry anymore because he was lying in bed. He had this nerve pain. He couldn't really do anything anymore because he was in pain, couldn't see. And I told him, I said, Dad, just remember the power of prayer. And you have all the time in the world right now to pray for others. Other people don't take the time to pray. We need people praying for us. That can be your ministry now. You can do that all day long if you want. Go down the line and pray for your son, your daughter, all your friends, and prayer is just something that we all need, and we don't get enough of, and there's not enough people praying. So I remember that helped him. I don't think it got him completely out of it, because he, was very stubborn and wanted to do what he wanted to do, but I think it did help him. And, there's people that their ministry is just prayer that God has them doing. He has them praying for our country, praying for the people that are in power. He has them praying for the economics. There's people that's their ministry. All they do is pray. They're intercessors, or they're prophets, or they, God just has them doing specific things. And so just because they're not out there, in the spotlight where everyone knows them doesn't mean that they're not just as valuable as someone that is. So let's look at a few other things. So here is a Fenton bear that I found. I found this at a garage sale that I went to. And when I saw that it was Fenton, there's the sticker, I was like, oh, that's cool. I found a Fenton bear. And this is the, I guess, bear of the month. And it's March. March is aquamarine, I guess. And so the heart on the bear is always the month color, the month birthstone. It says, this is March Bear, the dreamer. I'm so romantic, always looking for true love and adventure. Will you go along with me? So there's people that collect the Fenton bears. And I just thought it was really cool that I found one of those. Here is a piece of stone that has artwork on it. I don't really know how this is made. It kind of looks like it has like some kind of lacquer over it. I think it's hand painted. I think it's hand painted and then they lacquer it. So this is like the drips of that lacquer or whatever. And then it's signed by the artist Hayes. And I remember I had someone very interested in this for a while. They didn't end up buying it. But there's people that love just, you know, hand painted stones. You know, who knew? You know, I didn't know. But so that's why I've learned to pick something up and look for the beauty of that item. Look for what is the artist trying to do here? What are they saying? Like these candlesticks are, these are candle holders, and they're clamshell design. So it's like it's like an open clamshell. And these are, okay, so they're made in England. This is called Franciscan Rose, this pattern. Very famous pattern that a lot of people know and collect. And so you can see Franciscan Rose plates, bowls. I mean, there's the whole set. And people love it because it's that green and pink combination I was talking about. It's very popular. And then there's also a Franciscan apple, and it's an apple. I wish I had brought one of those. I have some of that too. But people like to have the whole collection. They like to have the plates and the cups and the whole shebang, you know, I like to say. And so I found this lady here. I was buying something from her on Marketplace, and then we got to talking. I found out that she has so much stuff. She's just listing all this stuff, and I'm like, well, let me see what else you have, and maybe I'll buy some other stuff. I ended up buying a ton of stuff from her, and she was just a personal collector. She has a bunch of stuff that she just likes on her, in her house. She has several, what do you call it, decorative, what do you call it, curio cabinets with all of this stuff in it. It's like Fenton glass and imperial and old vases, and I mean, she has everything. So I started learning a lot of stuff from her, and so she's the one that I got these from. And I think I bought the Franciscan apple stuff from her too. So I knew it was authentic because I knew her, and I knew that she knows her stuff, and she has a lot of stuff like that. So I mean, I think these are beautiful, but because my favorite is this type of look, I mean, this could go with it, really. It could go with it, but I don't want to have like a hodgepodge of stuff. I just want to have mostly the same look. So I'm not going to keep these, but they're beautiful. They're beautiful. And the way this shape, it's just very unique. It has a clamshell shape. So I found this piece of glass, and it is the Lord's Supper. And they call this depression glass, amber glass, I think. And these come in different colors because my friend that I was telling you about, she has one of these in, is it a blue? I can't remember. But they do have these in different colors. This is like a vintage item. Who makes this? Anchor Hawking or something like that. But it has the grapes and leaves all the way around. And then it's just a vision of the Lord's Supper in the amber glass. And people love these. People collect these. People buy these, and you know, to have in their dining room or whatever. And when I first started out, I thought, I'm going to keep all the religious stuff. Anything that's, you know, has a spiritual connotation, a religious connotation, I'm going to keep it. Well, I couldn't do that, because I found so much stuff that if I kept it all, then I would look like a hoarder, and I'm not going to do that. And I already have a picture of the Lord's Supper that I got from Costa Rica that is made with copper, and I love that one, and I'm not going to give that one up, so I don't really need to have two, but I love this. So that I have listed. Here is a piece of silver plate. This is Oneida, and people love Oneida for some reason. You know, there's a lot of different silver plate that people look for and like, and they want the whole set of. One thing that I had sold that was a silver plate, it was quadruple plate. It was a creamer and a sugar, and when I had to look and see through a magnifying glass, and it said quadruple plate. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then when I listed it, I had like 3 or 4 people like all like interested right away. All the quadruple plate people. I was like, okay, I guess quadruple plate is like, it's a thing. People love it. You know, there's going to be a bidding war now on this quadruple plate set. So if you ever find quadruple plate, you found something really good. This is not quadruple plate, but it is Oneida USA. It's a footed dish. I guess it could be a candy dish, you know, it could be like for the holidays, people use this type of stuff. And I've been told that from a lot of other resellers not to polish it up. So it needs to be polished. When this is polished, it will look spectacular. I sold this silver plated tray. It was about this big, and it was footed tray. It was very ornate. And I sold it without touching it up, because you really want the person that's buying it to do that. You want them to either leave it the way it is or decide if they want to do that, because I heard that when you silver polish it, you're actually kind of taking off a layer of the silver. So you really, some people do polish them and then they list them because they look better, but I haven't done that. I really don't want to do that. So it really needs to be polished. It's tarnished quite a bit. But this is a nice, you know, piece of serving ware or whatever that you would have on your table at a holiday or a family gathering or whatever. So, here is kind of an older type item. This is Wizard of Oz mug that I found. There's Dorothy and, you know, one of the witches, and then, you know, the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the whole thing. Follow the yellow brick road. So there's a lot of Wizard of Oz, you know, crazed people out there that love to collect Wizard of Oz things. I sold a Wizard of Oz pillow. It was just a pillow, a normal pillow that I found at the Goodwill, and I listed it, and boom, somebody just jumped on it and bought it. I don't know why someone hasn't jumped on this and bought it yet. But Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland as Dorothy. But, you know, it's a collective type thing, and maybe these are kind of more common. I don't know. But this type of thing, and when I was relating items to different generations, I would put this in the baby boomer generation, because this cup reminds me of my mom. She is very eccentric. I'm uber eccentric, okay? And I would categorize this cup as a baby boomer generation type cup, eccentric. right? Very different. It's not a cup that I would pick to drink out of. This is the type of cup I drink out of. Something that I like, you know, whatever colors and designs that I like. But it wouldn't be Wizard of Oz. I'm not a Wizard of Oz person. My favorite movie is something else. It's not Wizard of Oz. But a lot of people, they love it. So, so if you are a baby boomer and you're from an older generation, you still have a very unique and awesome value, something very, very different that is like noteworthy, and it's something for us to admire and look at, you know, and enjoy. I enjoy my mom's eccentricness, even though she can be very hard to deal with. I find a way to laugh it off or find it funny or whatever. So I was talking about Delft the other day. This is a classic Delft dish. This is, I guess, a butter dish and hand painted Delft. What does it say? Hand painted Delft something. I can't even read it. But anyway, it says Holland here. And this is the classic Delft, the blue and white with the windmill. And some of them say Amsterdam. This says Holland. So the other one that I was talking about, that one sold. The Limoges plate I showed you the other day, that sold. The Ray Dunn little block, that sold. Those are already gone. I don't know why this hasn't sold, because this is classic Delft, but whatever. Here's another Fitz and Floyd piece. This one is Fitz and Floyd Holiday Cheer and Be Merry Santa. So I have a lot of holiday stuff right now because Christmas is coming up, and I know that people are going to be buying a lot of this type of stuff. So any Fitz and Floyd, I don't care what holiday, I'll take it because people love it, and I love it too, actually. But this one happens to be a holiday one. I think I've shown most everything here. Now, if someone feels like, oh, I'm really old, you know, I'm in my 80s, like this, that would remind me this would remind me of someone that is really old, like they are very classic. This is like Victorian, you know. Of course, there's no one alive today that's from the Victorian era because it was so long ago. But it would remind me of something like this. This, I don't really know much about it because it is not marked, and it's possible that this is modern. I'm not sure as far as the make, but it looks very old. So this is what I would think about someone that is elderly, very classic, gold, like they're golden, they're in their golden years. They know all about life. They have wisdom. They can tell you stuff. That's what I would think about when I look at an egg like this. I called this a Limoges-like egg, but I don't think it's Limoges. I don't really know. But I have this listed, and it has it's got a feeling to it. This is not just transferred on there, like it's just, I don't know, it's gilded on or something, but it's very, I love this. This is a classic look that I like. I have these Mikasa candle holders. They're just very quaint, you know, they're just very, I would equate this with someone that is very, what do you call it? Someone that is very blunt, like they are who they are, they're not going to change. That's these. Like this is very, it's just like, what would you call this? I would call it you know, candlesticks are kind of ordinary, candle holders are kind of ordinary, but this one's ornate and it has that green that I love. And I thought about keeping these too, but they're silver. They have a silver rim instead of a gold rim. I love those too. Here is another old piece. This is a Hummel, a real Hummel figurine. I mean, you can't tell because it's a sports Hummel. It's a basketball girl, but it's made by the Goebel Company. This is a Hummel, and people collect Hummels. People love Hummel figurines and collect them. I've sold a couple, or at least one that I know of. And they are made in Germany. And my husband remembers them because he was stationed in Germany for 4 years, and he remembers people collecting those. This little cherub is a Napco Japan. And I listed this and I thought nobody's gonna want this, and I've got 4 people watching this. Like I'm like, okay, but it's like in 3D. His hand is raised, and maybe it's the fact that this is not broken off, or I don't know. But another thing that people just kind of really like, and that's a company that people know, Napco, and some other companies that came out that made stuff in Japan. This dish I absolutely love. I really love this, of course, because it has the gold on it, and but it's blue, not green. It does have a little bit of green, and this is from, I forgot, Silesia. Where is that from? Like, dishes like this are usually like from Prussia or Selb, Bavaria, or something like that. And I mean, this is just, it's awesome. If you like dishes and you're into dishes, this is, I would call this sophisticated. You know, this is, somebody told me one time, you're a fairly sophisticated woman. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe that's why I like this type of stuff. I don't know. This is like so me. I am very kind of prim and proper, and I like all that kind of stuff. This is Spode, England. So this is another collector's plate. It says the Cardinal, American Songbird Series, original paintings by Ray Harm, limited edition, Spode, Bone China, England. So this is Bone China. It's a Cardinal Songbird Series, and people collect these, and it's also, you know, it's hand painted and it's signed by this Ray Harm, whoever he was. But that's pretty too, but I would not, this is not my style at all. I would not, you know, this is not me. This is very much me. So that's the thing. This is someone loves this, you know, this is their style. So you have to think not just about you, what you like, what you think is beautiful, what you recognize. You know, there's a lot of things out there that you don't recognize, that you don't know about, you don't know is valuable. Like some paintings, I've started finding some artwork. This is a print, obviously, but when I first found it, it is signed by this guy, and people look for his paintings. This is not a painting that I don't really like this. I would not put this up in my home, you know, but this guy is very well recognized and people like his paintings. And some guy asked me if this was an original or a print because he wanted to buy it if it was an original painting, and I said no, it's a print. He didn't want it, but someone might want the print even though he didn't. So you have to look and see the value in things, and a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, we'll go to museums and we'll be like, oh, ooh, you know, I don't get that. Like, this isn't making sense. What is that? You know, what kind of, I don't get the art. But when you talk to someone like an art historian that knows all about it, and they know, you know, all the different artists, how hard it is to paint these certain paintings, and, you know, all how they mixed it and how they did this and the shading and the shadowing, and, you know, somebody that understands all of that is going to go and look at that same painting and say, wow, you know, this person really knows what they're doing, really knows their stuff. Someone like me that is very into spiritual things and charismatic, I'm going to listen to someone that is from that same bent as me and go, wow, this guy really knows stuff spiritually. He really gets it. He really understands. Someone else is going to think, ooh, you know. So we have to know that there's not just value in what we see, but God sees it all. And here's another little, this is called luster. I think this is lusterware, but this is Czechoslovakia and made in Czechoslovakia. And a lot of people love the Czechoslovakia lusterware. There's Japan lusterware. People love that. It just depends on what personality likes what and who collects what. Here's something that I found that I'm going to keep. This, you know, it looks like a menorah, but it has 9 candle holders. So it is actually a Hanukkah. And I had to ask my mentor that because I knew that 9 was not a menorah. And she said, no, it's a Hanukkah. So this is for, what did she say? For Hanukkah. So you light one candle, and then there's 8 days of Hanukkah or something, and then you light the candle the day before, then you light these one of these each day or something. So I'm really trying to get into the Jewish traditions and stuff because you know, Jesus was a Jew, and I just want to know about all of that. And sorry, Roomba is trying to get in here, but thankfully I have the door closed, but it's making a lot of noise. So this is something I'm going to keep. She's also giving me a menorah so that I'll have one of those also. I have a talit. I mean, I love all the Jewish traditions now, whereas before I was never really taught about that. I was never really taught anything about that. And a lot of Jewish people are never taught anything about Jesus or Christianity. But you can have both, you know. And my mentor is Messianic Jew. Messianic Jewish, I guess you would call it. And so that is a thing. Someone that respects all of the Jewish traditions and loves that and may even practice them, but they believe in Jesus as the Messiah. So traditional Jews do not believe that Jesus is the Messiah. So there's, you know, there's that. So I love that she's a Messianic Jew. We went to Israel together. We experienced, you know, all of the Stations of the Cross. Everywhere that Jesus walked, we went. It was just, you know, it was just an amazing thing. And so I need to do a video on that also. One of the most powerful places I ever went was there in Jerusalem, at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the tomb there where they believed that Christ was laid and everything. That was just so powerful. So back to what we were talking about, is that God knows your worth. God knows your value. And that's not going to change. That's not going to change. even if you have messed up and you have done, I don't know what you've done, but God still loves the intrinsic value that you have, and he recognizes it. So we should also be recognizing that in other people, and looking at people's talents and what they're good at, and helping them accomplish their purpose through those talents that they have. So I don't know if I did a very good job on this video trying to drive my point home, but oh, I know what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about that's going to have to be video number 3, because that's going to make this too long. But there's a lot of people in the Bible who were not your typical, viewed as your typical minister or someone that God would use. And God will use anyone who is willing. We just have to be the vessel. So it's like, if you've ever heard that he's the potter and we are the clay, so he can shape us and mold us how he wants us to be, kind of like this vase. You know, it's pottery, so somebody had to mold this into what it is. And then if we are the vessel, if we tell God that we want to be used by him, then he fills us up, and then we can pour out of his love and whatever he gives us, and we are just the vessel pouring out whatever he wants us to give to the world. And I say this a lot of times, that we are God's hands and feet on the earth. In other words, God is not here in the physical. He was in Jesus Christ. He was here in the physical. And if you remember, he did a lot of signs and wonders while he was here, out of his physical body. You know, healings, miracles, etc. But now that he has ascended to heaven, God does not have physical arms and legs on the earth, except through his chosen, his people, the ones that have, the ones that have, the ones that have accepted that call, and the ones that have told him that they are here to do his work. So if you are one of those people that have told God that you are here to do his work, he's going to use your talents. He's going to use your abilities, and a lot of times those things that we're interested in are flow out of those talents and abilities that he gives us, and because he wants to use them for his good and his glory. So then we can be a vessel for him, and you know, and then we learn that it's not about us, it's about him and his purpose, so that his purpose can be fulfilled on the earth, so that he can return for his people. I know that sounds kooky, but that is what we believe as Christians, is that we are the quote-unquote bride of Christ. So God is preparing his bride for his return, so that he can come and get his bride. And that is what we are offering ourselves up to him for. Lord, use me for whatever you need me for now, for whatever you're doing right now on the earth that you're preparing. I want you to use me for that. So God is going to go look at me and say, oh wow, April, okay, well, she has this and this and this and this talent. That's what I'm going to use to fulfill my purpose on the earth. She's empathetic. She's you know, I've given her wisdom. I've given her understanding in the spiritual, and that would make her a good chaplain. She can identify with people. She is very compassionate. So then he's going to use those talents in being a light for him in that way. And he'll take whatever talents you have. If you're a good speaker, whatever it is, God is going to use those in the way that he can, that aligns with his purpose. So all of these people on the earth that have said, yes, God, use me for your will and your purpose, he is mobilizing all around the world. He's using them. Like he's got people in every country, every corner of the earth that he is using, all for his one purpose, and that is to bring everyone to him, bring everyone to the realization that he is real, that he cares, that he loves us, that he sees us as valuable, and that he wants to come and get us as his bride. So, okay, so I think I'm going to end it here. I'm going to have to edit this because I don't know. I always tell my mentor, I don't think that video was good. And she's like, oh, it was good, it was good. And this may be the one that she says, oh God, April, you need to go back to the drawing board. We'll see. So anyway, I'm trying to get these out quicker than usual and have them more readily, not readily available, more closer together, so that you don't have to wait so long for the next one, and be more consistent. So I am working on that, and in the meantime, remember to do your devotions, do your declarations, stay close to God, pray. Remember that is the main thing that you can do in your life, is to have your spiritual life alive, and your relationship with God alive and well and working. So we'll pray that you're working on that, and I'll be working on the videos. Take care. I'll see you next time.